What is up, everybody? Welcome to some Gummytainment. I'm your host, Gummy Den, and welcome to another mobile game video. I almost said live stream. So welcome to this video. Now, I did come up with a name for the game. However, I didn't want to spoil it in the title or the description. So we will go over kind of, a little bit of how I came up with the name and what I was thinking, and then I'll reveal the name later on in this video. Sorry to keep you suspenseful, but it's just, it's as I'm going through everything, it's a little bit easier to do it later on. So, I'm going to start with the things that happened since last devlog that I did off stream, just on my own. There was a lot of work I do, not on streams. Mobile game streams do medium on my channel. They do okay, and they are a great experience, but doing them too much ends up being bad. So I do them every now and then instead of doing them constantly. I'll probably do one stream at least before each of these devlogs to kind of give all. It's an easier way to get the footage, to have people live there, to show a lot of the code and stuff like that. And, I don't know, it just works out better for me, so hopefully that's okay for you. First, I want to cover a comment that was actually made on my last mobile game devlog, and that was from OK Noble Dev. Thank you so much for making this comment and giving me this, and they said, I think your game looks good so far. Thank you very much. I also think it would benefit the game if the player bullet-like projectiles were bigger, which is actually something that I put in my notes and was supposed to be done. It just, when I did the devlog, it was kind of like in the notes to happen after the footage was made and after I did the video. So, yeah, it just ended up that it was in my notes already. But I did do this right away because it was a comment, because I figured it took priority. So it is done. You will see that in the footage. I'll try to show you the footage right now. You'll see that it's much bigger. Just a real quick clip. Just so you know, also, all the footage I'm going to show you in this video is actually taken from a live stream that I did where I actually worked on the game. So if you want to check out me working on the game live, or playing games, interacting with me, whatever I'm doing on my live streams, come to twitch.tv/Gummytainment and check it out live. My schedule will be pretty much everywhere. If you go to the Twitch, you can see it. It's pretty widely available there. And yeah, you should come check it out there. So yeah, that's all the footage you're going to see from this video. Okay, so the next thing that I tackled was some to do with the hit. So when you get hit in the game, it wasn't really much happening there, which is a very important thing. So I made a little bit of visual effects. There's a shake and there's a little thing that spreads out, which you can see here. And this actually happens for the player and the enemy. And this is very important because this makes a huge difference in the way it feels. Instantly, no matter how medium the graphics are, it just makes a really big difference to have nothing pretty much happen and then have a slight shake and a effect go around them, like pieces being broken off. It's so much different, so much better. The next thing is I had to add a new enemy. 2 enemies is a little bit, even though it is the first world level area, 2 enemies just seems too simple. I don't know. It doesn't seem like enough. So I had to add a 3rd enemy, which has a lot more HP and does a little more damage to you. They're bigger, so that's how you can kind of get that idea that it's going to be a little bit tougher battle. And yeah, you can see that enemy here. They're pretty tough. And I definitely wouldn't want to mess with them. And especially starting out in the game, it's going to be really hard because you're going to have low HP, you're going to have low attack strength. And I also edited it to make sure that when you're shooting, your speed is a little slower now, and it's actually set to a certain variable, a certain way. So you can later on upgrade that to make it a faster speed for your shooting, which I think will be really important and a great upgrade to do. Not just your strength, but like the gap in between shooting can really cause you to, panic and be stuck and end up getting hit and losing. So that's really important. The last little thing I want to point out, and there was many things that happened, I'm just pointing out a few because it's hard to go over every single thing. But the last one is just the background. I improved the background. I kind of made a little bit of a better one, and then it was a little iffy the way it looked, so I made it stretched, and it actually looks okay. It's not really the final one. I'm going to work more on that in the future, but it is better than the last one by a lot, and it does do the job. So yeah. Alright, so now, moving on to the stream, I'm going to cover a bunch of things that I did in the stream and just show you them here. So, one of the things I wanted to do was do a little bit of UI. Now, this isn't really the UI as far as, like, really the way it's going to look. That's going to come later. I'm going to be doing that probably in Photoshop in combination with Asprite. Asprite is where I make all of the actual sprites and everything in the pixel art. But Photoshop, I think, will be a little bit of a use here just to kind of get an example of like a room size and make a fake room, and then just kind of mock up how the UI will look and the position of it and all those kind of things. So that's why I think that will be a little bit helpful. But for now, I just wanted to simply display things to the player, and I will be playing around with the sizes of this later. I just wanted to get it all displayed really just so that I know all the systems are working. So the first one was just the world and the level. The world will never change right now because you're basically in World 1. That is the first area. That's not going to change. The level will change though. When you get rid of all the enemies, which it does show the enemies left as well, and it goes to, well, kind of 0. Like, it doesn't show you 0, but once you get to 0, it will actually change, if you look very carefully, to World 1-2. So it'll actually change to a new world. There's also world generation. So it's actually creating a level randomly and placing the walls and the enemies. And it's choosing randomly how many of each type of enemy. So that is all going to be done and made more advanced in the future. But basically all you need to know here is it's showing the world and level system is working and is set up as a variable, and it all goes good. The next thing is the goo points, which are what you're going to be able to use to make all these upgrades and everything. They're very important, and they are the currency in the game, basically, as of now. And the last one that we actually did this, this was pretty interesting to do on stream, was the XP and level system. Now, I've never done anything like this, and it took a lot of playing around with. We had to, like, test it a lot. I probably still do need to test it a lot for, like, the final thing, but it is good for now for, like, the early versions of the game. And basically, I had to really play around with the, like, kind of equation and everything that I'm using to calculate the XP, because I know I wanted the player to level up in level 1, most likely, not 100% guaranteed, but most likely. So I had to add in variations where you get certain points amount for killing each enemy, which is really the only thing you can do right now to get points. And you also get points when you beat a whole world. But I wanted to, in the world, make it so that even though it's varied points, like between certain numbers, you still pretty much will get at least one level. But I also wanted to make it so that as you're getting to level 2 and 3, that it takes a little bit longer and it gets a little harder. And that's how normal systems like this work. So it took a lot of playing around with all the numbers. And because I'm going to be adding more stuff in the future, I don't know if this will have to be changed and edited and altered a little bit. But I do want the player to feel what it's like to have leveling up at least once or twice early on. It won't do a massive amount of change in, like, your, like, stats, but it will be a really good feeling for the player, and there are going to be things where you have to reach certain levels, like be a level 10 player, for example, to use certain features and certain things. So there'll be certain things that will be locked behind that on purpose, just to encourage leveling up, as well as getting the goo points, of course, to upgrade. Those are like the two things you want to do. So that's kind of how the game's designed. Now, the one thing I noticed was, while it is hard in a good way, some of it is hard in a bad way. and it might be too difficult for the beginning of the game. So I actually decided we need to have HP pickups. We need to have something you can pick up to actually get more health. So I added it. So here's the little heart that I made, and I actually looked up online as reference on how you do a rotating heart a thing, because I did the image and I was like, it needs to be animated. So I looked up on how you do a rotating animation, and I think it came out pretty good. Hope you guys can let me know in the comments for sure, like I know you will. Don't worry, I'm not going to take any offense to it, but me and the people on the stream thought that it was good. They thought that it was decent, and I'm happy with it, and it may end up being in the final game. Again, my graphics will be updated at some point even more, but that's really a later thing. Right now, they're just, like, good enough. Okay, so there's two more things. The first next one, I don't even know how to say that. Great. Is knockback for the enemies. So I wanted it to feel like a little bit more, that your impact of your shot was a little bit more, like, I don't know, it was giving him a knockback. Like, it probably would give him a little bit of a knockback. So the non-moving enemies, it works perfectly on. The moving enemies, I struggled with a lot. I had to play around with it a lot. It still is iffy, but it is good enough for now. It's kind of noticeable, and I think it will do. The knockback actually varies based on your strength. So in the beginning, it's going to be really hard to see it. I mean, you can see it, again, way more on the non-moving enemies that just shoot on you. But, you know, it is going to be lighter because you're lower power. You're not as much strength. So that is going to vary and increase a little bit later in the future. And the last one is I added a little particle effect when you move. Now, I'm not using actual particles, so I don't know if I should call it that, but I don't know how else to explain it. Basically, as you're moving, you see these little random dots. I did make 2 or 3 versions of it, so technically it's randomly choosing one of those. And by doing that, it actually does look pretty randomized. Like, I can't really see a pattern with it, which is exactly what I was going for. I wanted it to really look like just these random little kind of dot things. They're the same color as the player, and they do pretty good for now. They may be, again, upgraded and changed, but I think it really gives that effect that you're moving, and it actually stays there for a few seconds, so you can kind of see your trail and where you've been. So I really liked adding that and making it not go away instantly. I think it came out pretty good. Okay, so that was a lot. If you're still here, thank you so much for staying and watching this video and getting all these updates. And because you stayed till the end of this video, I'm going to treat you with something special before I stop. And I'm going to let you know 3 things that are coming in the future and in the next devlog. Hopefully, I'll be telling you good news, that I completed them. Everyone lived happily ever after. I live in a castle now, and... What? Anyways, okay, so, whoa, stop, hold on. Okay, we need to interrupt this. Sorry, this is, a little bit more in the future Gummy Den. So, I did this whole recording, was doing the editing, and I realized that the whole title of this video and the whole, thing I was leading up to was the name of the game. I named the game on the stream that you're seeing footage from. However, I did not talk about it in any of the recording. So, I'm here to interrupt this right now before we get on to the coming next. I'm going to wrap up this video, and I'm going to talk about the name ideas just really quick. I don't need to, prolong it any longer now that you're, been through the video. But I do want to talk about it here real quick. So, I was on the stream, and I had been contemplating different things. I was looking up different words, different synonyms for different things, and we were looking at, what the game's about. It is mainly about, if you don't know, that the Goo wants to eventually become the Goo King. He wants to become the next Goo King. However, I can't just say that for the title or something similar to that, because there is some endgame content, and I don't want to limit the name to like becoming the Goo King or something like that. We knew we wanted to have Goo King or something like that in the name, possibly, and we were trying to come up with different words. The 3 options we came up with was the Goo King Trials, Goo King Trials, so maybe if the is not working, we did some research on that, which I'll talk about in a second, and Gooey's Adventure, which Gooey is actually the main character. That's the name that we came up for that. So, the adventure one, it was something that we tried, we looked at it, and it just didn't fit. And we knew the Goo King Trials was the best, because basically, how it's going to go is, you know, you're going through these trials to go from a lower, less powerful, less, established and like not like any kind of royalty or like reputation character, and you're going through different trials, you know, that progressively get harder and become with like, you know, harder enemies and soldiers and stuff like that, till eventually you're up to the status where you can actually challenge the king. So that is the whole point of that. And once you finish it and become the king, there are other things we can do afterwards, which I won't discuss right now. So, we did some research, and I was looking through a lot of stuff to see which games have the in the name and which games don't. Someone in the chat had said that the makes it sound more epic and intense, which I agreed with. I just wasn't sure if you should put it in there, and it ended up that we found a decent amount with the in them, and it does make it intense, and I think the Goo King Trials is better than Goo King Trials. So the official name of the game is the Goo King Trials. That is the official name. There is the reveal. Now we're going to get back, and I'm going to talk about some stuff coming up in the future, stuff that I'm going to be working on that will be coming in the next devlog. So let's get back to it. So the first one is, which I'm already started and in progress with, is making it work on Android. Right now, so it does technically work on Android, but I just want to explain the zoom in and the actual like view and the screen, like the way it is, because I did make the rooms bigger, is not working on Android yet. I do have an extension that I'm working on. I'll talk about it once I get it working. I actually had to message the creator and just kind of ask for help with it, and he sent me a whole document and everything. He was very helpful, so I'm going to be working on that, and if that all works, I will have a very advanced, robust system from another creator that I bought as an extension, and that will do all the changing. It will automatically change it for any device, and it should work great. I just have to kind of set it up and put it to the right settings for my game, and then hopefully it will work, and yeah, then we'll have that all set. So I'm hoping that will be easy. I don't want to have to manually do it. It's very advanced and difficult to do it yourself, and all different devices are going to be so many different sizes and everything. So yeah, so I want to get that working. That's the top of my list. That's the next thing I'm working on. That has to be done very soon, because otherwise it's impossible to play it on Android. And I want to have this given out to some testers soon, and I want to test it myself on my own phone soon, and you know, eventually I want to release this in early access, so the game will be released before it's finished, but not for a while. So there'll be announcements to come on that. I know a lot of people are like, when's it coming out? You know, it's too early, and it's not really a good idea to say anything now. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to be doing is saving, loading, and the ability just to delete that save and that the save file, because I need to have that ability mostly because of testing, not because someone would really want to do that. I mean, you do want to have that in the end game, like, so someone can if they want, but most people are not going to want to delete their entire save. But, you know, I'll need it for testing stuff and playing around with things and, you know, stuff like that. So that's why I need a delete button in the game. So yeah, saving, loading, new game, all those systems are going to be implemented and working. So this way that the world that I am on and the level that I'm on will be where I continue when I go back to the game and all that kind of fun. The final thing is some player knockback because there is the enemies that attack the player and go towards them, and there is a little bit of conflict there and a little bit of problems. So I'm solving that by the player getting knocked back when those enemies hit them. It does make it maybe slightly easier to get away from them, but it's not going to be a lot of knockback, and it's still going to be, you're going to get hit a lot. You can't just, like, you're not going to be able to stand there in the knockback, and then, you know, they'll get to you really quick. So, don't worry. It shouldn't ruin that too much, but I think there needs to be just a little bit, because I don't think someone running into you would make you just stay there. So, of course, blocking is a little bit different, but when the player is getting hit, which I have set up in a certain way, they should get knocked back, just like the enemies get knocked back. So, yeah, those are the things that are coming soon. Okay, whew, this was a lot. I'm sorry if this video was too long. I don't know exactly how long it is because, you know, I can't see the edited version since this is recording Gummy Den from the recording part. So, yeah, but, thank you guys so much who have commented. If you like this game and you're excited for it, click that gummy thumbs up, a like button, of course. And if you're interested in, you know, this game, anything that I do, any other videos you've seen on my channel, and you haven't yet, subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost any money. Unless you want to subscribe to me on Twitch, that might cost money, but never mind. We're here on YouTube, so we won't worry about that right now. Alright, well, I'll see you guys in the next mobile game devlog. Maybe I'll see some of you at a stream in another video. I'll be checking the comments as usual. And I hope everyone has a good rest of your day and a good night. And remember, it's not just entertainment, it's Gummytainment. See ya!